All right. Well, certainly appreciate you guys being here and covering us as always. Um, Obviously, disappointed about the game on Saturday. It was a football game that we thought we had a chance to win. A lot of respect for Duke, their ability to overcome adversity. We hope that when they got back, that they found their homes and family and friends all safe. We certainly understand what it's like to go through something like that. So, again, a lot of respect and credit to them. And I think as a team right now, at least for me, I know I'm not proud of how we played. I'm certainly always proud of our players. So I'm proud of our team, but I'm not proud of the way that we played. And that, as I said after the game, that starts with me. I thought things that we've shown that we can do, and we do at a high level, we weren't not able to do on Saturday. I thought our guys did a good job of getting to the half and regrouping, and coaches made good adjustments, and thought we were a more improved team in the second half. But you look at the stat sheet, we outstatted them, we outgained them, we out third downed them, we did everything. But really, at the end of the day, as you guys all know, we beat ourselves. 14 points off of turnovers. We lost 7 points in the kicking game with 2 missed field goals and a missed PAT. And we're just not a team right now that can spot someone 21 points. And so we'll get back to work. I see a team that wants to win, that tries hard, that practices hard, that is trying to learn how to win. But I don't know that we necessarily yet have the confidence and trust in ourselves that when adversity hits, we can just go back and say, hey, let's fight right through this. And so there's no shortcut to that. There's no shortcut to confidence. You have to process your way there. You have to go through games like we just went through, overcome it, fight back, hang together, push forward. And so that's what we'll do. And we started yesterday. Yesterday was the guys' day off, but a lot of guys were kind of walking around the office and they're hurting and they're upset and they're disappointed. But we have another game this week, and so we'll hopefully learn from our mistakes and take on a Kansas team that's 2-1. And as I'll tell the team later, we went through on conference play. We wanted to be 3-0. We ended up 2-1. There's a lot of other good teams in the Big 12 right now that are 2-1. There's only 3 undefeated teams, and we'll look forward to getting started in conference play and hope that we can, again, learn from what happened on Saturday. So.
Man, it seems like Kansas is a team that's really forcing turnovers. They had a couple pick sixes. Is that something you're pretty concerned about, just the way their defense is playing?
Yeah, the story of Kansas right now is really their defense and how dominant they've been. They're only giving up 15 points a game, so they're 25th in the country in defense, second in the conference. They're first in the conference in passing defense. And as you said, they're taking the ball away. They're plus 12 in turnover margin, far leading the rest of the country. And, you take Saturday's game for us. If we don't turn the football over, that's a much closer football game. And so we are not yet forcing turnovers. And so, my hope is that we'll get there this week, and we'll need to. And we'll need to protect the football. And part of that comes from running the ball. We have to find a way to run the football better. And, that falls on me. That's my area of what I should be able to get done, and we have to get it done this week versus this defense. They give you a ton of different looks. They changed their defense from last year. They've gone to more of a 3-down package, and their kids are fast and athletic, and they'll be ready and excited to play.
What is this team's identity right now after 3 games, you feel?
A good young football team that is sort of finding their way, and we started 4 seniors on offense. We started 4 seniors on defense. 2 of those guys are transfers, so they haven't been with us real long. So I think we're just kind of a team that's finding, who we are and what we are. But it's a team I believe in, and it's a team that's getting there. We have explosive playmakers on the outside. What we haven't been able to do is find, the run game to go along with that. And if we could combine the run game with those playmakers outside, then I think we'd have something pretty special on offense. And then defensively, we haven't stopped the run at the level we want to yet. But a lot of that was on the offense this past game, probably being on the field a little bit too much and some of those things. So we're searching for an identity. You are what you put on tape. We're a team that showed flashes, but we're not consistent yet. And that's all part of where we are. And we are where we are. We're not, we don't get to say, hey, I want to be here, I want to be there. We are where we are, and hopefully we'll continue, especially as we get players back. Playing that game without Denzel Mims, playing that game without B.J. Thompson, those are 2 of our better players. And hopefully they'll be back this week. And that can certainly help us, I think, be a little bit more dynamic on both sides of the ball.
You talked about wanting to run the ball better after UTSA. Looking at the film from this game, are there any similarities, and does that maybe concern you at all?
Yeah, I'm concerned about it. Yep, we have to get better. I mean, there's times where we run the ball and we're getting 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 yards, just getting downhill on people. And what's really affecting us is people are moving and twisting and creating plays in the backfield. And so we were not always able to overcome some of those tackles for loss. But, we got started off. We ran the ball. We ran a quarterback zone read. Charlie pulled the ball at 2nd and 2 on the 12-yard line. Ball comes back with a hold, and weren't able to overcome it. And so there's flashes of the run game. It'll all come together at some point. We would like that point to be now. Don't mistake my this for what I want. I want us to run the football, but it's you can see it and you can see it improving. It's just not yet where we need to be.
Matt, is that offensive line? Is that where it starts?
It starts up front with the offensive line. We have to call more runs, so we have to give our backs more chances. But it's a lot of things. It's also, when you run the ball on 2nd down, there's a good chance you're probably going to be in 3rd down, and you have to execute on 3rd down. And I'm not, I don't think you guys hear me make many excuses. We had a hard time. We had a hard time on 3rd down in a couple plays where we felt like we were grabbed and tackled at receiver, and later in the game, our guys got a little bit more violent on the perimeter, and I think you saw, our passing game in the second half really step up, and Taekwon and some of those guys emerged and made some plays. But, we have to give the offensive line more chances, and we have to run the ball more. At the same time, when we do, we have to be excellent on 3rd down, which at the end of the day, I think we finished like 7 of 15, so we were, almost 50% on 3rd down, which is pretty good.
With the offensive line, how much is that is the continuity of not having to run guys in and out and having the same 5 for the majority of your snaps?
You'd like to be able to play the same 5, but that's not where we are right now. You have guys that are banged up, guys that are coming back, working their way in, guys that got tired in the heat, as we kind of went, with some tempo at times, so we went into the game with like 60 linemen, so we were down on the D line, so we tried to slow it down a little bit for them. But that continuity, you'd like to have it, but we're just not in that time and space yet. So, we kind of rotated some guys at left tackle, some guys at left guard. And hopefully this week, everyone's healthier this week than they were last week. So hopefully we can, maybe settle in a little bit more this week.
You said after Duke you wanted to zone in on a featured back was one of the positions that you mentioned. After getting a chance to look at the tape, has anybody jumped out to you?
No, I thought, neither one got enough chances to really play at the level we want. We had some opportunities. We had some drops even in the passing game to our receivers. But I have a lot of confidence. Lovett had that first fumble. I brought him in yesterday. Made sure he knew. I'd go to war with John Lovett 100 times in 100. And Jermichael, we all know what he can do. And Ebner, is a guy that can be dynamic. So we just have to give them a few more chances, get the ball in their hands a little bit more, maybe a little simpler in terms of just getting the ball downhill and see, give them a chance to really go be explosive, and give them a chance to get in a rhythm.
Do we have to establish a run game, especially when Jermichael's going to have to miss the first half of this game against Kansas?
It just is what it is. There'll be a good opportunity for Lovett, be a good opportunity for Ebner. We'll probably play squirrel a little bit this week and have Jermichael ready for the second half.
With the drops, are there specific drills that y'all can do in practice, or is it just repetition?
We have guys. Jalen Hurts stays after practice and probably catches 300 balls on the jugs. He's a maniac. I just think for a lot of Saturday, and I think in general, we just have to just keep going. We just have to keep pushing them. So we do the drills, we catch, we have jugs. At some point, all the players just have to make a decision. Am I going to become the guy? And we have players that I know can do that. And it's just that confidence, that trust, that comes from the time you put in and the preparation you put in. And so we do the drills, we do all that stuff. I think we practice. We dropped a lot of balls last week in practice. I'm going to be completely honest with you. There were a couple times I stopped practice and brought everyone up and said, hey, guys, this is sloppy. Before every accident, there's a warning. And so, we're honest with our players. We don't live in Pollyanna land. We told them all week, hey, these plays are going to be there, and we're going to have to make these plays, and we're going to have to catch these balls. And I really believe what happens in practice happens in the game. And, we on the first, second, 8, we sprinted out. We threw a deep ball to Platt that he was open, and we just couldn't get it there. And we did the same thing Friday morning. It was the same, it was incomplete. And so What does that mean? That means we keep getting them to go back to practice. And see, what happens when you lose is everyone wants to start looking around at all this stuff. And what it takes is it takes people that say, no, like, let's control what we can control. And the thing we can control is our practice effort and our what we do in practice and how much we're putting into it. Because if you start to make those plays in practice, it becomes routine. Then you make them in the games. For a lot of our players, when Taekwon is a sophomore, then when he's a junior, then when he's a senior, he'll have so much confidence. He'll play at this level because he's doing it now. Seeing Fleeks get out there. So how do you get freshmen and sophomores and juniors or guys that haven't played a ton to play with a ton of confidence? They have to do it in practice. And we sometimes still, battle in our brains is practice punishment. Like, why are we practicing, coach? Why are we practicing so hard? Why are we practicing so hard? Well, we're doing it so that we can play well. And that's it. That's the only reason why we practice is to play well. And Alabama's going to go out and practice today, and Michigan's going to go out and practice today, and Kansas is going to go out and practice today, and so are we. And if you don't want to drop the ball in the games, then catch it in practice. And if you drop one in practice, then go get on the jugs and catch another 100. Because at the end of the day, all of my kids, I just got off the phone with my son before I came over here, making sure he was doing all right. Like, you are responsible for what you do. You are responsible for how you play. You're responsible for your grades. How do you get better grades? You study. How do you catch balls? You catch 1,000 balls for the one you get in the game. And so why do we have games like this? Sometimes it's to reinforce that message. And as I said, our players will have a decision to make. Are they going to come back and get back to work, or are they going to start to look around? The guys I saw yesterday, the guys I know, they're going to come back and get to work. And in the loss, it wasn't what we wanted, but you do see some guys made huge steps from week 1 to week 2. Actually, from week 2 to week 3. So try to make another step this week and see if we can go 1-0 against Kansas.
Coach, is there any, are you at the point depth-wise where if a guy drops a ball, he has to fear watching on the sideline for a while somebody else that's going to catch goes in?
We're probably not necessarily 100% there yet. And I also don't want to turn some things into bigger things than they are. Sometimes just like making big plays can be contagious, sometimes drops can be contagious, and so to me, we're going to play the guys I see that do it in practice, and so that's why I felt so it's a loss, and it's hard to talk about like Chris Platt, his level of unselfishness. When Mims practiced on Friday, we thought he was going to be able to go. He wasn't able to go. No problem. Jared Atkinson went out and played, and then Platt I'll play both. I'll play the X. I mean, he plays Z, but I'll play X. I mean, he's a pro's pro. He's a winner. He's exactly what I want the program to be like. So if Chris Platt drops the ball in the game, I'm not going to take him out of the game, because I know what he puts into it. It's trying to get everyone to understand, hey, let's all be like Platt. Let's all put ourselves in these positions. But at the same time, if Chris is now having to play a new position and Taekwon's having to play a new position, and to get our best players on the field, that's where sometimes timing and drops and all those things happen. So we're not yet where we'd like to be in terms of all that, but we have a lot of good players at receiver, and I think you'll see Josh Fleeks' role continue to grow. You got a glimpse of him on the kickoff return, what he can do. So hopefully we can continue to get those guys in the game and keep building their confidence in practice, and then they'll make the plays in the game, and that'll hopefully escalate.
I know you mentioned in the teleconference that you're planning on keeping the quarterback rotation for now. Did you think in the fall, 3 weeks into the season, that you would have had your guy ready to go and one of them would have stepped up and shown you that they're going to be the guy?
Yeah, and what I said in the teleconference was that we were going to look at it this week, and I said if we played today, I wouldn't do anything differently, but I feel good about both guys. I don't think there was a ton of mistakes by either one. Jalen's completing 66% of his passes. Charlie's at 60%. Jalen's, almost, I forget what the number is. He's like 100% in the red zone, or 80. Those guys are doing a lot of big things and they're creating a lot of big plays. But we want to look at, you play the non-conference schedule, especially when you're in year 2, where you don't have a lot of time with a lot of guys. Like when I was at Temple and I had a senior quarterback, I had been with him for 4 years. Here, when I have a senior, I've been with him for 12 games or 15 games. So I want to, on the offensive line, defensive line, I'm going to give guys every opportunity to show what they can do. And so, but after 3 games, we're going to look at all the positions really and say, who's playing who gives us the best chance to win, who's playing at the highest level, and then who's going to practice at a high level. And so I talk a lot about practice, and I know sometimes people say, why is practice so important? Just going back to what we just talked about, if you do it in practice, you'll probably do it in the game. And so both those quarterbacks are competitors. We'll see how they practice this week and then kind of go from there.
Is there
anything definitive you can point toward difference in the first half and the second half from Saturday?
Well, we didn't beat ourselves quite as much. I thought we got a little bit of energy, and we're just, again, we're at a point as a team where when things didn't go well, we really don't yet have that guy that's like, hey, rallies everyone up. It's really kind of us as coaches, and we're getting there. Like, Greg and V and some guys in the locker room, I could hear them talking to the guys. But we're at that stage. Smoke always asks me about learning how to win. Part of learning how to win is when you're losing, great teams rally, you know what I'm saying? And they feed each other energy. And that's why you like playing at home. When things aren't going well, the crowd gives you energy and you rally together and you hope that you can overcome it. So what's happened to us sometimes last year and it happened to us this year was a bad play becomes a bad series, we kind of lose hope. So 7-0 became 7-0. We fumbled the ball. They made a play on third down. Okay, play again. We go down. We're gonna move the ball all day. We miss a field goal. Okay, who cares? Keep playing. Well, 7-0 became 14-0, became 24-0. Got in the locker room, regrouped. How do you guys want to go play? And then they went out and we didn't beat ourselves quite as much. And as bad as we played, we still had a chance at the end of the game to make it a game. And so, but once we blocked that, we scored, then we blocked that punt. All of a sudden, everyone was alive now, right? And everyone had energy. We're trying to get a team that doesn't need that. You don't need people in the stands cheering for you to win. You don't need a rah-rah speech from a coach at halftime to win. The players feed off each other, and that's been one of the biggest things we've tried to build, and it's not there yet, but it's coming. They're getting better at it. Rally each other on the sideline. Don't lose hope, and that comes from confidence. That comes from experience, and hopefully this week we'll be way better than we were last week.
With the quarterbacks, how difficult or how do you go about evaluating a position that's determined by so many other factors in a game like that? How do you evaluate each of those guys?
I just do it off of numbers. Like Charlie's played 138 snaps. He's completing 60% of his passes. He's led us to 8 touchdowns, 4 field goals, 2 missed field goals, 7 punts. I do it all off numbers. Jalen's played 17 drives, 78 total snaps, 6 touchdowns, 1 field goal, 5 punts. Jalen's 57% on third down. Charlie's 41% on third down. Those are good numbers for both of them. If you're in the 40s, you're pretty legit. So both guys are playing pretty well. So to sit there and to try to make it off of a gut feeling is really hard. When both guys are producing. Wish Jalen could take the pick 6 back. Wish Charlie could take his pick back. But when you play quarterback, those things are going to happen, especially when it's at the end of the game and you're having to grind it out, and try to come back. So both guys made good plays yesterday. Both guys had some plays they would want to take back, as do we all.
Matt, what kind of leadership do Blake Blackmore and Pat Lawrence give you on the O-line? Fifth-year seniors, they've pretty much been through everything here.
Yeah, I think they lead by example. Kind of gone are the days of being in a huddle where everyone's kind of looking at each other and talking to each other. But I think Blake and Pat lead by example. They've both become very fine offensive linemen. They both have developed at a high level. They're guys, when the NFL guys come in, I always tell them, like, hey, these guys are going to play for a long time because they're strong, they're athletic, but they're also really smart. They work hard. They both care a great deal. So I think they lead by example, and I look to them this week to really start to assert some of their leadership because they're guys that people listen to.
What have you seen from Charlie and Jalen on the sideline when you talk about how you want a leader to emerge? Kind of that quarterback position is usually a leadership role that brings people up on the sidelines. What have you seen from both of them when it comes to that? I
think they both do a good job of that. The great teams I've been on, like the great leaders are usually like a defensive guy, that like everyone that just plays so hard and violent that everyone sort of follows. But I think both our quarterbacks, I think they lead by example. They lead with their work ethic, and they're players that guys listen to and believe in. And both of them, both of them believed they were going to bring us back, and both of them thought, hey, we're going to get back in this game. And I thought they made the big plays. Each of them threw a deep ball to Taekwon, knowing, hey, you know what, I know he's going to go make a play. So I think they both have great leadership qualities.
Matt, do you get some of the D-line? You mentioned that you were pretty thin in that area for this last game. Do you get some of those guys back this week?
We get B.J. Thompson back, and so we haven't yet seen him play yet this year. So that should be a big thing for us. And he's practiced his tail off, waiting for his opportunity to come back and play. And so having BJ, we have some guys playing at a high level. I thought Ira played a really good game. James Lynch, Greg Roberts had a ton of tackles. So adding BJ into that mix hopefully will generate some more pass rush, because the number one way to create turnovers is to get to the quarterback. So we 3 of our turnovers this year have come from our quarterback position. So we haven't gotten to the quarterback. We didn't have any sacks this last game. So getting to the quarterback is a challenge. And BJ will help us, and it'll let some of the other guys maybe have a little bit more rest so they can go out there. We have guys, Lynch is playing 2 positions, Lockhart's playing 2 positions. Hopefully this will help us.
Tyrone still not back. Tyrone Hunt.
Yeah, Tyrone is going to do some individual drills today, so hopefully he'll be back this week or next. That's that's the doctors and trainers, and then Ken Johnston does all of our return to play. They're bringing him back.
Matt, is it harder to learn how to win than it is to learn how to lose?
I think it's hard to learn how to win. That's why not many people do it. Like I point out, I told my son the other day, there was one team last year in college football that went undefeated. One team. That was UCF, right? One team. Alabama lost, right? So it just goes to show you, like, as dominant as some teams are, very few teams going. I was lucky in college. I was a freshman walk-on. I wasn't a great player, but to be on an undefeated team in college, to get a team that went 12-0 and won the Rose Bowl, doesn't happen very much. And teaching guys how to win, the first thing you have to do is eliminate the things that cause you to lose. It's like, don't beat ourselves. I try not to. I'm not on social media too much, but I saw Robert Griffin tweeting at halftime saying, hey, guys are just beating ourselves right now. Go in and regroup. And he said it perfectly. So if you eliminate the things that cause you to lose, penalties, turnovers, mistakes, lethargic play, if you eliminate those things and you play with, like, your hair is on fire and you don't beat yourself and you overcome mistakes, that's the first step, learning how to win. And then the second step is putting people away, and then the next step is overcoming. And so what I like about our team is they didn't quit. They fought back and they tried to make it a game. We just have to eliminate the things that caused us to lose, and that was penalties and turnovers, and that can't happen. We can't beat Kansas and turn the ball over. We've got to start taking the ball away, and as a coaching staff, we're trying to do a better job at that, and then as players, they're trying to do a better job of that.
Learning the lessons from this game last week. You obviously don't want to go through a game like that, but is there value in having this happen early before you get into conference play and illustrating, hey, this is why we do this?
Yeah, I think anything that happens in life, it happens for a reason. It's your job to learn from it, and we want our team to learn from it. We'll see how much they want to learn from it today. We haven't seen them yet. They'll be in, but as I said I'm not happy with the way we played, but I believe in our team very much, and I like our football team, and they're as disappointed as anyone that we lost, and they want to win. So we'll go back and we'll grind it out. We'll come back and we'll work, and hopefully we don't lose another game at all this season. But if we do, we'll learn from that one as well. And you guys asked me last week. I try to make sure we learn from the wins as well. To me, that's the key. Is when you win to learn from it. When you lose, you learn, because it's all the mistakes are there when you win, and then when you lose, all of a sudden now you notice them. I try to make sure we notice them when we win. I've been saying we can't beat ourselves, and it hit us. Okay, we placed a good team, a top 25 caliber team. They beat us. We had a chance. Come back this week. Let's not beat ourselves. Let's practice a little bit better. Let's go to bed a little bit earlier. Let's do everything a little bit better this week and hope that we can find a way to beat Kansas.
Matt, you mentioned the penalties. Are there, when you're looking at those, are there good or acceptable penalties that, where a guy is just, being aggressive, trying to make a play? I'm specifically thinking of I think it was Bravion who slung a guy to the turf, just trying to bring him down, and, they call him for, unsportsmanlike or whatever.
Right.
Do you look at that and say, these are penalties we can't make, these are just a guy trying to make a play?
Yeah, the us lining up off sides, those are penalties we can't make. Those are pre-snap penalties, right? Those are silly penalties. Those are things that we can control. Bravion was playing ball, and that wasn't like Bravion picked the guy up and then Bravion was just trying to get him down. So it's a penalty. We live with it. He played hard, hit the quarterback in the first game. They called a penalty on him. Play hard, we play right through that. Jamison had. He's playing bump and run. They called him for defensive pass interference. He's playing football. We'll move on. Right? I'm not going to worry about those things. We only had 6 penalties, which I'm used to having 8 or 9, kind of like be an aggressive team. We just like to eliminate the silly ones, any sort of false start or lining up or whatever. What it was unfortunate that there was 6-0, right? I mean, so how often are you ever going to see a game where the other team doesn't have one penalty? It's hard to do. So you'd like to not beat yourself. But I thought our guys played hard, and I thought, just the ones where we lined up off sides were the ones that bothered me, because there's no reason to give someone 5 yards by just aligning incorrectly. And, we'll hopefully move on from that, learn from that. But there's going to be some where we just play through.
What do you see from Puka Williams, their freshman back?
He's dynamic, back-to-back 100-yard games. They are a fast football team. They've done a good job recruiting. Coach Beatty's he's had to rebuild that roster, and they do a good job of spreading you out, of finding a way to run the football. I mean, they're doing what we would like to do, to be quite honest. And so, but anytime you have a back that gets back-to-back 100-yard games and has a 100-yard game against a Big Ten team, I mean, that's saying something.
Matt, particularly with a young team, you mentioned the crowd, that maybe you don't or you shouldn't have to count on that. But particularly with a young team, do you need the crowd there to maybe bring some of that energy?
Well, I mean, I thought we at the end of that game there were people behind our bench cheering and screaming for us and giving us energy. So yeah, the crowd's always an advantage, and the crowd's always that's why people like to play at home when they can, right? You like it to be so loud the other team can't even. Like we were at UTSA, we couldn't hear the calls because it was so loud. So you'd like it to be so hard that the other team's offense struggles. You'd like your team to feed off that energy. But all that stuff is, on the outside, right? I mean, we have to control what we can control, which is how we play and what we do. But we have great fans. A lot of people stayed there till the end and cheered us on to the very end. We got booed. Someone asked me about that after the game. That's part of playing ball. You learn from it. I just hate it for our players in that. What I don't want our players to do is start to doubt themselves. I mean, this is our players are doing a great job. They've come a long way, and you guys kind of see bits and pieces of it. But if you're on the inside and where we were when we first walked in here to now, I mean, I can't tell you how good of a job I think our coaching staff is doing, how good of a job our players are doing, and if that's not good enough for everybody, I certainly understand that. Trust me, I'm a results-oriented guy. I want to win. But we got kids playing that they're playing before it's their time. So I'm proud of them. So I will sit there and try to take every bullet for them and fight for them. So I hope fans come out and support them and love our players and are grateful for our players and see the young player, see Taekwon and Fleeks and Chris, all these true freshmen out there playing, making plays, and they say, wow, this team's going to be something else. I mean, this is going to be a force at some point. So why not enjoy it along the way? And so, but our team has to learn. You know what? When we go to Oklahoma, when we go to Iowa State, we're not going to have the crowd there. So, let's learn to play on our own. And I would just say this one last thing. If you've been on the sideline with us on our away games, then you would cheer for us at home. Okay? When my son's not allowed to, I won't even let my son on the field on most away games because of the things that are said there. And I said it last year to our players. So I love this football team. They are grinding away. And they played a bad game on Saturday. I coached a bad game on Saturday. We're not going to point any fingers. We're going to come back. We're going to work and get better and better and better and better. And this year it'll be fun. We'll fight our way through it. And we'll fight our way through this week against a good Kansas team that's leading the country in turnover margin. But these guys that go out there and put on the BU, and not to give them some long impassioned speech, just know this from me. They've overcome more people, more stuff, more. They're fighting for Baylor, and so if you come to the games, great. And if you're not a fan, I understand that too. But there are some great stories. There's some great young men out there playing, and I know what our coaching staff has done in 2 years, and I know what our players have done in 2 years. And some of our players are doing things that I never thought they'd be able to do, and they're doing them. And I'm proud to be their coach. And so we'll go out there on Saturday. We'll fight our tails off. And then win, lose, or draw, we'll come back in and we'll try to get better next week and go from there. And that's the never-ending process of trying to build a great football team.
Matt, I'm sure you knew this, but did you know that Beatty grew up in the Dallas area?
Yes, sir.
And went to A&M?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He and I've gotten to know Coach Beatty quite a bit because he's great friends with Joey McGuire. And I think Coach Beatty's a class act. And what he's done there, taking over a program with all the roster issues that they've had, and even losing that first ball game this year, losing to Nicholls State, the way he's kept that team together, and all they've done is just gone like this. And you can see when they're playing Nicholls State, they're a good football team, and what they did against Rutgers on Saturday. You know, Rutgers is a team I've watched a lot. You know, being up in the Northeast, they've done a great job, and that's how you rebuild. He's doing it the right way. He's rebuilding that program, and it'll be a heck of a test on Saturday.